Peace, brothers and sisters. This is Dr. Sadiki Baye once again. I'd like to thank you once again for blessing me to enter into your house to share with you the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that I have been blessed with by the Creator and the ancestors. We're going to continue our journey in the book of Daniel to see what was Daniel all about. Don't forget, Daniel is not so much a person. Daniel is a mindset. So we can transform ourselves into the mindset of Daniel and have those same experiences. Daniel was a blessed person, and God always gave him the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to interpret whatever dreams or whatever the situation is. And King Nebuchadnezzar, he proved that. So we're going to continue our journey to see what was Daniel all about, so that we can see our original diets instead of being garbage disposals that we are today, just eating anything and then taking drugs and think that drugs have the intelligence to fix something. Drugs doesn't have the intelligence to fix anything because it gets in your bloodstream and it goes all through your body. That's why you have so many side effects. But when you take the herbs from the field, then there is no side effects. So we got to get back to the earth and where this body came from. The body is 2% earth and 90% mental and spiritual. We must understand that. But we deal 98% of our time with the 2%, which is unfortunate. So we have to get back to our natural ways. So we ended the last time on the chapter 4 of Daniel. And we're going to see if we can get through 5 and 6 because these are long chapters. So we're going to get through them the best way that we can, in peace. So open up your mind and your heart to receive the blessings that I'll be sharing with you. So enjoy the journey. So let's go back to let's start from the 4th chapter, the 37th verse, which is the last verse in chapter 4, and then we'll get into 5, and then we'll also get into 6. So in 37 verse of chapter 4, it says, "Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, all whose works are true, and his ways judgment about his ways judgment, and those that walk in pride he is about to abase." Those who have this whole pride thing, you know what I mean? God will bring you down to earth and make you look like a plumb fool. And a lot of us are fools. We transform into being a fool because of that pride thing. We got to be real. We got to be true. So let's go to chapter 5. It said, Belshazzar, get your Bibles ready to open it up so you can see where Sadiki, follow along with me so you can say that, oh, Sadiki, he's throwing all this stuff in and he's doing it his way. No, we're going to do it our way. So let's do this, go on this journey together so that we can be our brother's keeper. We got each other's back. So it says, chapter 5, Belshazzar, the king, made a great feast for 1,000 of his lords and drank wine before the 1,000. Now, a lot of people think that Belshazzar is the son of Nebuchadnezzar, but he wasn't the son of Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar might have adopted him, but he was the eldest son of Nebuchadnezzar's successor. So we must understand that he was Nebuchadnezzar's successor's son. But Nebuchadnezzar adopted him, obviously, in his mind as his son. Also, it says, number 2, it said, Belshazzar, whilst he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar, they said his father again, but he really wasn't his father, his biological father, he had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink therein. Now, in Jerusalem, Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar was the king of Jerusalem, but they hated the Jews. They didn't care nothing about no Jews because these Jews were of the line of Judah, and the line of Judah were us, black folks, the dark ones. Everybody hated us, always have and always will, but we must understand that. So don't go for the okie dokie anymore. Understand that a snake is a snake, and just because it ain't biting right now don't mean it ain't a snake. It's just a matter of time. So number 3, then might drink therein. Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of God, which was at Jerusalem. And the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drink in them. Number 4, they drink wine and praise the gods of gold, of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone. Now today, guess what our God is? Money. They got us chasing this ghost. But God said, hey, if you're right, I will add that unto you. But do we believe that? It didn't say money was the root of all evil. It said the love of money is the root of all evil. Let's get it straight. So words are important. So number 5, verse 5, in the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Now, this hand was a mysterious hand. Belshazzar didn't even know whose hand it was, so it puzzled him. It was a mysterious hand. So let's go to 6. Then the king's countenance was changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against another. They rubbed one against another. So let's go to 7. The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. They always call these people in to interpret things for them. But we're going to see what happened again. And the king spoke and said in the wise men of Babylon, whosoever shall read this writing and show me the interpretation thereof shall be clothed of gold should be clothed with scarlet and have a chain of gold about his neck, and shall be the 3rd ruler in the kingdom. Number 8. Then came in all the king's wise men, but they could not read the writing, nor make known to the king the interpretation thereof. Then was King Belshazzar greatly troubled, just like Nebuchadnezzar, and his countenance was changed in him, and his lords were astonished. Now the queen, by reason of the words of the king and his lords, came into the banquet house, and the queen spake and said, O king, live forever. Let not thy thoughts trouble thee, nor let thy countenance be changed. Number 11, there is a man in the kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. Who was this person? And in the days of thy father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, was found in him, whom the king Nebuchadnezzar, thy father, the king, I say, thy father, made master of the magicians, the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and soothsayers. Number 12, For as much as an excellent spirit and knowledge and understanding interpreted the dreams, and showing of hard sentences and dissolving of doubts. See, so who was this person? Okay, well, we're going to find out who this person is again. And it says here, he found in the same Daniel. Oh, there go Daniel again. Old brother Daniel. Daniel was a bad boy. He was a God-fearing man. God gave him everything because he was an upright person. See, you can't fool God. Whom the king named Belteshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and he will show the interpretation. Then was Daniel brought in before the king, and the king spake and said unto Daniel, Art thou that Daniel, which art of the children of the captivity of Judah, black folks again of Judah, whom the king my father brought out of Jewry? I have even heard of thee. I have even heard of thee, that the spirit of the gods is in thee, and that light and understanding and excellent wisdom is found in thee. And now the wise men, the astrologers, have been brought in before me, and they should read this writing and make known unto me the interpretation thereof. But they could not show the interpretation of the thing. And I heard of thee that thou canst make interpretations and dissolve doubts. Now if thou canst read the writing and make known to me the interpretation, thou shalt be clothed with scarlet and have a chain of gold about thy neck, if you can make known, and have a chain of gold about thy neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom of Jerusalem. I'll say Jerusalem. Number 17, then Daniel answered and said before the king, Let thy gifts be to thyself. In other words, I don't need your gifts. My blessings come from the Most High, my God. And give thy rewards to another. Give it to somebody else. Yet I will read the writing unto the king, and make known to him the interpretation. O thou king, the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar thy father a kingdom, and majesty, and glory, and honor. And for the majesty that he gave him, all people, nations, and languages troubled and feared before him, whom he would be slew. And whom he would be kept alive, and whom he would be set up, and whom he would be put down. But when his heart was lifted up, and his mind hardened in pride, look at that pride again, he was disposed from his kingly throne, and thou took his glory from him. That's that pride again. We have a lot of prideful people. Pride gets you nowhere. God will break you down to nothing, make you look like a pure idiot. He will abase you. He will lower you to zero. We see a whole lot of people go through that. See, that's the law of karma. You can run, but you can't hide. Number 21. And he was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beasts, and his dwelling was with the wild asses. Wild asses. Wow. We always say, man, that guy act like a pure ass. Don't be afraid to say ass, because it means something. A whole lot of people act like wild asses. Sometimes we got to get our ass out the way and get busy. They fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High God ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appointed over it whomever he will. And thou, his son, O Belshazzar, has not humbled thine heart, though thou knowest all this, but hast lifted up thyself against the Lord of heaven, and thou hast brought the vessels of his house before thee. And thou and thy lords, thy wives, and thy concubines have drunk wine in them, and thou hast praised the gods of silver, of gold, of brass, iron, wood, and stone, which sit not, nor hear, nor know, and the God in whose hand thy breathing is, and whose are all thy ways, hast thou not glorified. We have to glorify God. We glorify all of these things and the gold and, you know what I mean, you know, the silver, the brass, and all of these trinkets, this stuff that's, you know, plentiful in the earth. We got to glorify God. And God is the essence of us. The essence of us is God. That's why I say to know thyself, for if you know who you are, you know who God is. You get 2 for 1. Look in the mirror, and there it is. The image and the likeness. We don't have to be spooked up about that. Don't go on what these old greasy spoon reverends and pastors and bishops and all of these, imams and all of them. They want to mislead us because they want to control us too. It's all about that money. They sold their soul to be a non-profit so they can keep that money and don't pay no taxes. Now, if you don't believe me, check it out for yourself. Not all of them, but almost. Then was the part, number 24, then was the part of the hand sent from him, and his writing was written. And this is the writing that was written. Mene, Tekel, Upharsin. This is interpretation of the thing. Mene. God hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel, thou art weighed in the balance and art found wanting. And Peres, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Number 29, then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet and put a chain of gold about his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him that he should be the 3rd ruler in the kingdom. In that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain. They slew him. Wow, because the interpretation was what it is. David interpreted it, and it came true. And the Darius and Medians took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. That's 60, that's 30. 32. Those are spiritual numbers also. 3 and 2 is 5. So we have to understand numerology. But most of us don't like numbers, except for counting money. Then we get stupid with that. It is what it is, brothers and sisters. Tell it like it is. Don't be afraid. The truth is the light, and the truth will set you free. We've been in the dark for so long, we're addicted to the dark. But don't go for the okie doke anymore. No more regrets. It might be a lonely road, but guess what? God will bless you with the right ones. Keep your circle small. You can control it better. Chapter 6. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. And over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first. Woo! God bless him to be first. that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king shall have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents, the princes, because an excellent spirit was in him. Wow. And the king thought to set him over the whole realm. Wow. God is a mighty God, and you can't fool God. You can run, but you can't hide. Hey, let's transform and renew our mind and get our minds right, because everything is mind. Man means mind, but unfortunately, all males are not men. They don't think, they're too emotional. So it is what it is. It's up to you. God gives us choices. Thank God for choices. Wow. Because some of us are born in cursed families. And he calls some of us out of that cursed family to give us an opportunity to qualify ourselves. But we must work hard and smart and qualify ourselves so that we can be blessed and fulfill our purpose and create a lifetime legacy. Number 4, then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel. Trying to find something against Daniel. See, when you're a good person, everybody's looking for fault. They try to tear you up, try to down you, abase you, and all of that. But we're going to see what happened. But they could find none occasion nor fault, for as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. God was working beautifully in Daniel, because Daniel took that position for God to enter into him and raise him to the highest. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king and said unto him, King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdoms, the governors, and the princes, the counselors, and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute. And to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Daniel in the lion's den. Remember that? But we're going to make it clear and make it plain. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the sign of the Medes and the Persians, which altered not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber towards Jerusalem, the east, he kneeled on his knees 3 times a day. 3 is a spiritual number also. 3 is a complete number. 3 times a day, and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime. All the time. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of the lions? That was the question. The king answered and said, the thing is true according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which altered not. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee, O king, nor decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore was sore displeased with himself and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. See, Daniel interpreted a lot of things. Daniel was a righteous man, and he knew that. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. He was hoping that Daniel would be, spared. Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king established may be changed. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of the lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God, yes, brothers and sisters, number 17, it says, and the stone was brought. No, let's go for 16. Then the king commanded that bring Daniel and cast him to the den of the lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. And the stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet, and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. And the signet is like a ring that is a stamp for that the king has, that he can make the laws and change the laws. He confirms that with the stamp of his ring. That's what the signet is. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went hastily to the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest, continually about to deliver thee from the den of the lions? There was a question. Then Daniel unto his king, then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God has sent his angels and shut the mouth of the lions, and shut the lion's mouth, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocence was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. He hasn't done anything, so why is this happening to me? Then was the king exceedingly glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believeth in his God. According to your beliefs, it is done unto you. Daniel was a faithful person, a faithful man to his God, and God will deliver you from any situation. Any situation. They might mean it for evil, but God means it for good. So just hold on. How would you even know who you are if it wasn't for an experience? And that can be painful, but hold on, you can't beat the blessings. And the king commandeth, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of the lions, them, their children, and their wives, and the lions had the mastery of them, ate them alive, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den. Then King Darius wrote unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom, men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God and steadfast forever, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed, and his kingdom shall be even unto the end. He delivered and rescued, and he worked signs and wonders in heaven and in earth. That's Daniel's God, whom have delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persians. So we got to remember, brothers and sisters, that the essence of us is God. We're only 2% physical, but 98% mental. So we have to deal more of our 98% because everything is mental. You can't fool God. You can't fool life. God will deliver you from all situations if you're right. We got to be right, which means be righteous in our ways and in our thinking, in our behavior. That's why Daniel was spared from the lions. And the lion's den can be America. So if you're right in America, America can't touch you. They mean everything for evil, but God means for good. God will deliver you. And I bear witness to that. And I know most of you bear witness to that too, that God delivered you from a lot of situations. But we pray that, God, if you deliver me from this, I'll never do it again. But we lying because we go right back and do it another kind of way. You can't fool life. You can't fool God. So let's be upright. Let's be righteous. Let's be our brother's keeper. All males are not men, as I said before. Man means mind or thinker. So let's transform into Daniel so that we can be spared from the den of the lions. And that's for real. Brothers and sisters, keep your lights on and keep them bright at all times. Always be intentional with that. Do your best and let God do the rest. You got to know when to hold and know when to fold. It might be a lonely road to a degree, but God will bless you with what you need. Keep your circle small, you can manage it better. I love you, I bless you, and I want you to prosper. Raw food for thought. Dr. Sadiki Baye. Happy new journey. Peace.